That night, light rain fell over Seoul. The drops tapped softly against the apartment window, playing a rhythm that only the two of them seemed to hear. Ji sat at the edge of the bed, the dim lamp casting warm shadows across his face. He cradled a cup of tea, its steam fading into the cool air. His gaze wandered over the blurred glow of the city lights outside, though his mind was somewhere else entirely. He was waiting. The front door clicked open. Jungkook stepped in quietly, his black hoodie damp at the cuffs, his breath carrying the cold air of the streets. "Sorry I'm late," he murmured, his voice almost apologetic. Ji stood, a small smile tugging at his lips. "You're always late when it rains." He picked up a towel and moved closer, gently ruffling it through Jungkook's hair. The scent of rain clung to him, mixed with the faint fragrance of shampoo. Jungkook didn't take his eyes off Ji, watching every movement as if committing it to memory. The closeness, the warmth of those small gestures, it was something he could never explain to anyone else. "Have you eaten?" Ji asked softly. "No. But I'm not hungry. I just wanted to be here," Jungkook said, his gaze unwavering. Ji looked away, trying to steady the beating in his chest. He already knew that if he looked at Jungkook too long, his heart would give itself away. But hadn't it already given itself away long ago? They had met years ago on stage, in practice rooms, under the blinding pressure of the public eye. At first, they were colleagues, then teammates, then brothers. But time had a way of bending definitions. What began as harmless glances turned into something heavier, something that lingered too long to ignore. What started as casual touches became sparks that neither of them could brush aside. There were no confessions in the beginning. The outside world was too loud, filled with cameras, gossip, and expectations. They learned to speak without words, using a secret language of glances and gestures. During rehearsals, Jungkook would watch Ji for a beat longer than necessary. During breaks, Ji would leave a bottle of water by Jungkook's side without saying anything. Small, quiet moments that no one noticed, yet they meant everything. One evening, the rain returned. The studio was nearly empty except for them. Ji sat at the piano, his fingers tracing a soft, melancholy melody. Jungkook sat on the floor nearby, leaning back against the table, his eyes closed, letting the music wash over him. "What song is that?" Jungkook asked without opening his eyes. "I don't know," Ji replied, not looking up. "I'm just playing what I feel." "It sounds like me," Jungkook murmured, finally opening his eyes. Ji froze, a small smile curving his lips. "Maybe it is." A silence followed, not awkward but heavy with unspoken things. Jungkook stood and stepped closer, stopping just behind Ji. His hand rested lightly on Ji's back. "I want to always be near you," he whispered. The words were simple, but they stripped Ji's breath away. Their love, if that was what they could call it, was beautiful, but it was not free. Cameras were everywhere. Rumors traveled faster than truth. The risks were real. Ji often lay awake at night, thinking about what might happen if the truth ever came out. One night, the fear spilled over. "Kook, if the world ever finds out about us, will you still be here?" Jungkook's answer came without hesitation. "I'm not here because the world allows it. I'm here because my heart chose you. Even if everyone leaves us, I want tea." The words anchored Ji in a way nothing else could. Still, the reality of their world demanded secrecy. On stage, they could not reach for each other the way they wanted to. In public, They had to walk a careful line between closeness and distance. And yet, there were cracks in the facade, small, fleeting moments when their guard slipped. A hand brushing against another for half a second. A smile too warm to be staged. Glances that carried more meaning than any lyric could express. At a concert one night, as the final song played, the crowd sang along, voices echoing through the arena. G looked across the stage. Their eyes met through the beams of light, and Jungkook's lips curved into a smile that said everything G needed to hear. Weeks later, on a cold, clear night, they found themselves on the rooftop of G's apartment building. The city stretched out beneath them, a sea of lights against the dark. Jungkook handed G a cup of coffee, the steam curling into the air. "You know," Jungkook began, his voice thoughtful, "I used to be afraid we'd never get here." G tilted his head. "Get where?" "To the point where I can love you without hesitation." The words landed deep in G's chest. He thought about all the nights he had feared losing this, all the moments he had wondered if it would be easier to keep their hearts locked away. But standing there, with the city glowing below them, he realized he no longer cared about what was easier. "I was afraid too," G admitted. "But now, I just want us to keep walking. No matter how far, no matter how hard the road gets." Jungkook reached for him, pulling him close until G could feel the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. "Then promise me. Always." From that night on, they stopped measuring love in days or months. Instead, they measured it in the way they chose each other over and over again. Jungkook's embrace became G's home. G's laughter became Jungkook's anchor. The world would never know everything. To the public, they were idols, performers, friends. But behind the music and the lights, they were something much rarer, two people who had found a place where their hearts could exist without asking for permission. In the rain, in the glow of the city